Good morning. I am higher vibrations, and so are you. And happy full moon. The moon is in Leo. It is the time of creation, of what's really cool about being in Leo is this is the time where you truly feel into your sovereign energy. And so, what a more fitting, there couldn't have been a more fitting day to welcome my guest today. This is someone who I talk to regularly. I just love her. She's a sister of sisters. She's somebody who's been on this journey for quite some time, has a lot of different experiences. It's going to be a really fun conversation. I have no idea what we're going to talk about, and that's usually the best kind of show we have. So I just want to say welcome to Janette from Down Under. Welcome. How are you today?
I'm well, thanks, Mila. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation, as you said. Not sure where we'll go, so it will be interesting on this Leo full moon for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. It's gonna. I'm really excited about this time frame that we're in, energy wise. There's a lot happening, and a lot of us are looking forward to what's going on. Um, but it so where you're at, you're in Australia, so it's summer right now, right?
Yeah, it's pretty warm. February is usually pretty warm here, so yep, we're still in summer.
That's so fun. To me, I always think of that. Like it's like so. It'd be so weird to as you, someone who is in Australia, trying to think about Christmas as being full of winter, you know? It's
Yeah,
kind of
it
fun.
it doesn't quite equate to our you know, bikinis and singlets and the beach and so forth. Yeah, totally different. However, they try to still bring those traditions into our Christmas. There are people that do that the hot, lunch or whatever, and but majority of us tend to do a more of a cooler type lunch, and yeah, totally different. So
Yeah.
you'll have to come out and experience it one day for sure.
I would love to. I would really love I always just get this vision of people trying to wear, like, the ugly Christmas sweater in, like, 100-degree temperatures. That'd be
Yeah,
awful.
we probably just get into the t-shirts out here, just
Right.
funny Christmas shirts, that type of thing. So that's more so what you'll see out here. So
Yeah.
yeah, but no, definitely it's still warm. February is usually the peak of the heat, and it starts to sort of taper off coming into March, into April. So but I'm in the tropics as well, so it's humid here all the time. Other
Mhm.
parts of Australia have been really extremely hot this year, well into what we call the 40s, which is probably, I don't know, 110 or something for in your speech. We don't quite get to that, but we have the humidity, which feels like that every day anyway. So
That is, yeah, 100, 40 Celsius is 104 degrees Fahrenheit.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of the country cops that in summer. So it's a very diverse temperature around the country in summer for sure.
Right on. So, what's the energy like there in Australia? I'm just curious because I know that the energy's spiking here. Oh, by the way, the reason I asked about the weather is we just went through this Arctic crazy thing right now. So, like, all of a sudden, we went from 70 degrees to 29. So, it's like, yeah, but
Yeah.
anyway, so what's the energy like there?
It's pretty much probably the same as everywhere else. It's got an electric feel to it. Like
Mhm.
there's a lot going on. If you look at the movie, it's probably going to show you that it's quite chaotic out there, um, in the sense of everyone knows there's something going on, if you get what I mean. So
Yeah.
that in turn causes that friction, and we're experiencing probably the same as you guys. I mean, from what I can tell, the US is upsetting Australia's apple cart at the moment. So there is some argy bargy between the leaders. I
Yeah.
don't watch it, but I have heard that there is potentially some stuff going on. So if you look at the movie's going to show you that it's very chaotic, but that will also show you that things are changing,
Yeah.
you know. So energy wise, again, everyone knows there's something going on, but they just can't put their finger on what that is. So those of us that have had a little bit of foresight are, are able to navigate it probably a little bit easier.
Right. Right. Well, that's pretty. It's kind of fun to check in because, like, I mean, well, like we're having global earthquakes. We're having Yellowstone and Mount St. Helens are having some pretty serious activity, which are two of the, like, especially Yellowstone's one of the biggest, um, volcanoes that we have, at least in this continent. I don't know. I'm not very good at knowing all the different measurements throughout the world, but because Americans as we go are kind of arrogant. It's all about just our local stuff. And so I've always understood that Yellowstone's like the biggest one on the planet, but that doesn't mean that's true. That could just be the biggest one that's like in our neighborhood, but it's having some pretty serious activity in the caldera last night and this morning.
Okay, so there's that movement still. I haven't heard anything about anything this morning. Oh, it's only 6 a.m. here, so I really couldn't tell you anything that's happened in the last probably 12 hours anywhere on the planet. So thank you for sharing that. That's
Yeah.
an interesting another reference point. When it comes to the system and if it's the biggest, I'm not sure. However, what I know about that is it's another reference point. So if it's coming up in the news or um, you know, some sort of indication that there's movement, that yeah, we know that the planet is expanding and going through her own changes. So yeah.
So as all this stuff is moving and shifting, many of us do tend to feel, even if it's an exciting sensation, disrupted inside, internal quaking, as it were. And you know, just for those of you who are listening and don't know, Janette is somebody who is uh, very profound in a lot of her different modalities and is able to kind of connect to many ways of healing, as well as just kind of balancing the energy in a variety of different ways. And so I was curious if there's something you could share as a tip or a trick or something that could help people right now during this really unsettling or unstable feeling energy that we're experiencing.
Yeah. Look, the everything's energy. So we know this. So, everything's in motion, everything's in flow. So think of the body as an antenna. So we're always picking up signals, we're always sending out signals as well. So when these planetary changes are occurring, so Monday morning for me, Sunday night for your time, I woke up with a real strong knowing that there was another signal being broadcasted, or that's the way I'm putting it. That's the way I can put it into words, that there is another, there was a different energy being, you know, broadcasted out with through the harmonics, and bodies, people were picking that frequency up. So as these changes occur, we are going to feel that in the biosphere within the body. That can show in pain, that can show in anger, discomfort, sadness. It's going to come in an emotion. As a human, we like the physical, right? So we tend to, what we can't see, we don't believe. So, of course, if it then presents itself as a ailment within the body, then you're able to at least see it, feel it, put a name to it. So, understanding that some of the pain within the body is caused from the frequencies or the signals that your body is receiving, and you're just trying to interpret it and communicate that however you've got the words for, or the understanding for. So I find that I do a lot of clearing as soon as I get up, we have been on the astral plane. We've been in a different dimension. If we look at it that way, this is the third dimension. We do go into that dimension. So we do pick up a lot of, static, let's put it that way, or
Right. Good
that
wording.
type of, yeah. So if that, yeah, it is another good word to actually put a name to it. So, think that you're always, like a magnet, you're always going to be picking up residue and bits and pieces that aren't yours. And, we can attach to that. We can then create some sort of emotional response within the body to then give a name to it, to then, you know, um, better understand what's going on. Some of us will find that we'll get these frequencies, we'll acknowledge it, we'll know that something's changed, and then
Mhm.
from there, you'll be able to clear it quite easily. It just depends on what's going on for us at the time and how much we're being hit by other frequency, other things that are going on within our lives as well.
So the way that you talked about doing the clearing, like, can you go into a little bit more in depth about how you would do
Yeah.
that? Like, so if you woke up and you're like, I'm staticky, what do I do? How would you first interact with that?
So first, it's obviously getting into the heart, really getting into feeling yourself and what's going on for yourself at that moment in time. And then what I do is then, I get myself into a meditative state. I've got a bit of a meditation I take myself through. That's really quick now for me. When I first started doing it, it was a bit of a process. Um, I guess when we start learning modalities, we don't want to stuff things up. So we want to do everything correctly. However, I find that you do add your own flair on things. So
Yeah.
what I'll do is I'll go into my heart, center myself. I'll then switch on all my chakras, whatever that looks like for people, spin them, move them, color them, whatever that looks like. And then you just start moving stuff within the body. So it's an energetic, it's obviously using your imagination as well is an aspect of it. However, we know the imagination is where the creativity comes from as well. So I just get into that state and then just start moving things. Sometimes it's can be a bit more of a residue. So you might find, an hour later, you're like, I'm feeling agitated again. What's going
Mhm.
on? We're always going to be bombarded with frequencies. So that's what we've got to understand as a human walking through this experience. There is always going to be energy in motion, and sometimes it's not yours, and sometimes it is. And therefore, it's about what do I want to, how do I want to feel in the next moment? Do I want to keep the aggravation up, or do I want to actually clear that from out of my sphere and then start, um, you know, getting on with your day and not being so stuck in that
Yeah.
um, patterning. We can all get caught in that.
Right. That's that's awesome. Thank you very much for sharing that. There is some so that's really interesting. We were having a conversation earlier about something that happened on that day, because then later we all met and we did a meditation, and there were some things that came through after that. Would you like to go into that?
Yeah, yeah. So we met a couple of days ago as a group, and really profound meditation, and then so that morning I actually got that real understanding of there's a new frequency within the planet and within myself, and seeing how that sort of pieced together. And so then I met with you ladies, and we had a great conversation and meditation as we normally do anyway. And then we were, post that conversation, a lot come out, and then I got off there and just started going into Greek stuff and looking into the 12 Olympians and the different energies that they are then connected to, which is the planets, which again is what I was talking about, the signals, the frequency, it's talking to you a little bit differently type thing. And I still haven't unpacked the whole 12th Olympian things and how that quite fits in to probably 12 dimensions and, 12 months and all of those 12s, and you being on the 12th today.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. So it's connected. Again, it's the same energy. It's talking about the planets. It's talking about um, some frequency, some, God being in control of that frequency or whatever, however you want to put it. But basically, it's talking about the same thing, but putting it into different words.
Yeah.
So I feel like the movement we've got in the Argent Sea over there, that is obviously sending out a ripple to whoever is listening. Again, you've got to be able to hear the signal and receive it. So yeah, I've gone down a little bit of a hole there, and our friend Kirsty has helped me with that. She's very good at that, the God stuff and how they the names of them. I get caught up in the names. That's my thing. I just can't remember these Greek names and stuff like that. So, and then from there, I went down another tunnel and ended up in the 7 the Olympian spirits. So I had no understanding of the 7 Olympian spirits. So they're 7 spirits that rule for 490 years each, and they have different amounts of legions and spirits that they're in control of. So I believe at the moment we're in Ok. Don't quote me though, but I believe it's Ok, and it's the sun. So it connects to the solar. And so that started around 1900. So this is where we're in this real solar, the thing about the sun, they're not, they're saying the sun's doing weird and wonderful things that they haven't tracked. Yes, they've done solar maximums and that sort of thing, but it's doing things it hasn't done before,
Wow.
so.
Well,
So that's where I've been the last
sorry.
48 hours, 72 hours. No, you're right.
Because I'm getting a lot of octopus. I'm getting a lot of 8s, and the fact that you were saying it was is like that's so in sync with what I've been getting, and I've not fully understood it, but it took me down a bit of a rabbit hole, similar, but just on a different side of the fence, to see like it was the same time, what the window of time that they were showing me, and it has to do with what was going on um, in Asia, in particularly China. And before, this is long, 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 long ago, when the wall of China was actually being erected, and it's not the wall of China, it's the Tartarian wall. Is the word that we're calling them Tartarians, and they wouldn't have called themselves that. But I just think this is really crazy because we both got the same kind of download, just from the different side of the fence, and it was just to kind of see.
Yeah, different cultures.
Yeah, it is really neat. Oh man.
Yeah.
And then I actually jumped down a bit of a rabbit hole with the Greeks for a bit there too, because I mean, I've always been fascinated by ancient Greece, and the gods and goddesses and stuff, but in particular, what happened before, like the creation of the Titans, that earlier time
Yes.
frame. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah. We've touched on that a bit too as well. So, and how that kind of fits into the whole story, because obviously, prior to a lot of these stories are, it's all the God stories. So they've got some sort of titans or some connection to mortals and gods. So it's very interesting that all of them are the same story, or correlating from pieces of the same story. And this is how fragmented history is. This is how fragmented we are. And this is how much fragments we have to bring back into ourselves and let go of other pieces that aren't ours. Like the history, a lot of the history that isn't right or isn't correct, let's say, we do need to let go of, and the other pieces will start falling into place. You know, whether you're looking at Asia or, you know, Greece, they're one in the same. It's just from a different angle, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and
However, they're all pinpointing you back to the same place.
and this is prophetic. The stuff that we're having happen, it's because, well, like the 25th, which is the 26th in the southern hemisphere, that is the peak of this planetary alignment that we have been looking forward to. And it's actually in the Disney movie from 1997, which was a big deal year, by the way. 1997 was a big year. 1999, 2000, 2007. I mean, most people have awakenings in specific slots of time, and those are some of the profound ones. Anyhow, it even tells the story of, hey, it's 222 right now, of this coming alignment that we're having being the time where the titans may rise. And they actually make it sound scary because, you know, the fear porn people were making it, right? But like, here's
Yeah,
what's really significant though, is that, well, it's all significant, you know, what's going on in Greece right now and all this stuff is like, oh, this is serious. Is that they also, they told the story of Pluto, calling it Hades and making it look like the devil and scaring people, you know, and we all know that, you know, most of the stories about the devil are, it's a way to take away responsibility for our own stuff. I know that's not like the most favorite
yeah.
conversation topic, but we don't have to go into that very deep if you, but like, this is telling of the time that we're in, you know, and we're in this moment of this revelation of the people. And Pluto is, instead of Hades, Pluto is the guardian of inner earth. And so if Pluto is the guardian of inner earth, and this prophecy is that all of these rise up when we're in, the reason we're in the age of Aquarius is because Pluto's placement, you know, like, I don't know. Do you want to
Hmm.
add anything to that, or just randomly talking?
No, you've actually, you know, hit. I feel like one of the 12 Olympians was Hades as well. So, you know, we go full circle back to Pluto. But you're right, um, you know, they've changed the story. They keep changing the story, so we don't know. You know, they tell us Pluto is the smallest planet. However, usually the smallest has the biggest impact, as we know. You know, will have the biggest change on anything. So we're in this time of definitely awareness and information being more transparent than what it's ever been before. It's been very, you know, we talk about all the fog that's been around the world. It's just another metaphor for showing you how much fog we have been, you know, in. Another, you pull the wool over the eyes type thing, you know. However, when you do come to, let's say, your senses, you know, and start using all of, you know, who you are, you will see that these stories have been put there to, one, yeah, give us a bit of rabbit holes to go down. It would be a very boring life if we could, you know, work it out by 21, wouldn't it? It's like, okay, now what? However, some of the stories we've picked for ourselves, of course, we wouldn't, you know, like to go through how it's, but it does grow you to where you are, and it's probably like Pluto. It's been through a lot in 100 years. Like,
Mhm.
I'm a Scorpio, so of course Pluto rules Scorpio. So it's one of the ones that I do have a strong affiliation with, because it's obviously part of my makeup. And again, that's Scorpio's, that star sign is probably being put in the same basket as Pluto, you know, because it goes hand in hand in a sense with each other. And it's again to put us off the story and not, you know, look at the full, the fractal pieces. You know, they are pieces of the one story. What we're all star signs in one,
Yeah.
right? So all the planets have some sort of harmonics with each other, and some way of, you know, you're talking about the alignment on the 25th. There's a reason why, you know, that planet alignment is in our awareness, you know, and it's not going to be in everyone's awareness either. It's only going to be in those that have got the ears and the eyes to see, you know. However, yeah, it's one of those stories that is unraveling as we speak, you know. And I feel like Aquarius is the water bearer, you know. So I've been looking at that with Kirsty. It's a bit like plasma.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we look at air and water in one, and what does plasma do? Well, it does a lot of things, including those beautiful geometric crop circles that are
Yeah.
created, you know. So I've gone along, you know, on a few different tangents there, but getting back to it, yeah, it's the time we're in,
Yeah.
for sure.
That's fun. It's so much fun to jump down that rabbit hole because there's so much code. And I have something. My daughter and I were watching. There's a series called The Avatar. It's like the last Airbender um series. It's like the cartoon one. Good.
I do remember parts of that. I can't tell you all of it, but my boys did watch
Yeah.
that probably 10 years ago or longer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite old. When it first came out, I was still considered a child, probably. Like, that's been that long ago.
Exactly.
What's fascinating was, so I walked in and she was watching it, and right off the bat, they're talking about the 7 planet alignment. Like, I was like, seriously,
Wow.
you know, and like that was the coming of the time, and all the energy was strongest then, and everybody could bend easier when when that energy's all lined up. And um, there's also reference in the dark crystal, you know, and there's the great conjunction and all this stuff. And we're actually heading into a great conjunction in March, by the way. Like,
Oh, are we?
yeah, like the 30th of March, if I'm not mistaken. I thought I took a note about it, but I didn't. Yeah, is that's the first. Oh yeah. So that's when March 30th is when Neptune goes into Aries for the first time in
Right.
like 165 years. But then it's going to cause a conjunction with Saturn. And this particular type of conjunction hasn't happened for 12,000 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's significant, isn't it? Like, there's that 12 again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's all kind of like, because I know we're in February, it's not March yet, but there's a lot of stuff that we're looking forward to, you know, and we're seeing already happening, and it's already impacting us, you know. Like, most people will feel Lionsgate a month or before it's here. Same kind of concept. Like, yeah, and it's this month too, but it's just it's just all like stuck together and mixing itself up. Um, but I guess you're really so I'm gonna post this really quickly again too, so people can see this. This is how to contact Janette. There it is. This is how to contact her if you would like to. This is her email. I've been posting it up, but I didn't say why it was there, so I just wanted to explain that to people. Um, so when these energies feel, you know, unstable, and we are finding that there's something that So what I've gotten in, the messages I'm receiving is that we're leaving the year of inaction, and so many of us are going to feel like we all of a sudden almost listless, where there's things that we need to fill in to do something to do, and like I was wondering if someone came to you and just kind of felt unstable energetically speaking and wanted to know what to do with that energy, what would you guide them to do?
Would have a chat about obviously what's going on for them at this point in time. However, it's about, you know, finding out why originally they've made that appointment to come and see me. Generally, it would be about, you know, seeing what I could do in the sense of, you know, is it pain presenting? Like I said, you know, a lot of us, we have that pain, or you know, some other physical ailment. However, through that would come to some sort of understanding what is going on for you. Is it some, it's going to be related to some sort of emotional block, or, you know, understanding about how we hold on to this energy emotion, and then it creates, you know, all of these other things that we have coming up in our lives and so forth. So generally what it is, it's about clearing the energy within, getting to the root of the cause of what is going on for them. Generally, we will be able to come to some sort of, you know, consent around sharing of sharing energy. So we will share energy. If they agree to it, I'll do what we call the body scan, which will be me intuitively feeling into what is being presented, usually through the conversation or through, you know, you pick up things through people's movements and stuff like that. And generally, majority of people have got some sort of connection or some sort of cord that they're still holding on to a person, place, situation. So through that, able to clear a lot of that through different types of a way of moving that energy. Um, and then getting to a place of, you know, again, like you're saying, the inaction stuff. A lot of us have probably had a real action-packed life in the way of stress, and I'm not saying that, you know, we're not marathon runners or anything like that, but you could be perceived as that the body will have that same sort of residue just from the insane lives that some of us have lived through stress and whatever other choices we've chosen. So a lot of that is still held within the body. So you can change a lot of things on the outside. However, if you don't change that stuff on the inside, that will store, and you'll find that, you know, the more it's within the body over the years, it will present in a lot of different ways. It will present in your teeth breaking down. That's a very common one. And it all comes back to, we all know when we're not doing what we should be doing in the sense of, you know, being in our higher purpose or service to ourselves. And I mean service to ourselves in the sense of, I got a very strong knowing on Monday that my only purpose is here to serve my higher self, you know, and really understanding what that means. So if you were to come to me, we would through a conversation and in communication, obviously I would come to some sort of understanding to what has been going on for you, how we could use some energy clearing practices, and then, you know, I'll give you some tools to be able to. I've got what I call the 4 quick fixes, which usually are around cord cutting, sending, as light beings, we do get attracted or attached to spirits that are stuck between the inner worlds. So moving on those types of spirits as well. And also giving back that energy that you might have unwillingly or unadmittedly taken from another person, and giving back their energy as well. So, that's like again, it's a mind, imagination, exchanging, giving back, cutting, that type of thing. And then, we do talk about psychic attacks and stuff like that. However, psychic attacks, from my understanding, are more so, it's that residue of emotional attachment you still have with that other person. Yes, it can be presented in what could be perceived as a, somebody really going after that person, or it can look like an attack. However, it is an energetic thought process. It's in the mind.
Yeah. I totally resonate with that too. And what's more too, a lot of times that these psychic attacks happen, it actually teaches you how to use your spiritual muscle. Like, we get to that point where it just gets to be, you get frustrated, the no isn't working, then you're had enough. And when you had that enough moment, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I didn't know I could do that. You're welcome, says whatever it was that came in. Now it's there. Good job. And I totally agree with you.
100%.
Yeah, it's not what we think we have been taught that it is.
Yeah. It's the same with energy. We haven't been taught that energy is everything. Everything is energy. Like, if we got taught that at a young age, I think we'd understand that, everything has an imprint, and therefore that imprint is, I think you were saying before that with the planet alignment, more informational, more things start becoming in the awareness. And I think that's really what is going on. Time's not linear. So it's not traveling on a line like we think it is. It's like the airbender. It's bending through, existence. And again, it's energy. So again, it's going to have a residue imprint then, and it's going to be in movement all the time. So I feel like if we got taught what our emotions, how the energy in the emotion gets stored within the body, and then we'd be a lot more regulated human beings, for sure.
And how to cleanse that is like one of the most powerful pieces of information that's been kind of obscured with some type of, it feels almost intentional. Who knows? Like likely.
Again, we probably did it as well, maybe, we don't want the game to be over.
Right.
It's like we have some learning to do in this lifetime too.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Oh, look, I think the hidden stuff is it's to show us how multidimensional we are as well. Because until we know there's something hidden, we think that Earth's the only existence, and then you start expanding your mind and understanding, and you come to a real understanding that it's a multi-universe on universal time, on universal law, running on its own, trajectory, and we're here for the ride. And therefore, if we're a micro of the macro, we've got to be multidimensional as well.
Right. Exactly. And, you mentioned areas you mentioned how there's energy that gets attached, that we have that attaches to us. And I'm curious because for those of you who don't know, you've been doing this for a while. You have all kinds of modalities. You're a practitioner in many spiritual modalities. I don't know a better word for it.
So I've done theta healing, like, as a practitioner. So I've done that course. So obviously that's given me some tools around understanding how theta of the mind, getting that mind into that meditative state, and how we can be um, programmed within the theta, alpha, all of those different waves, and how they do contribute. So yeah, I do have training in that. I've got training in Reiki, more so the energy type healing stuff. I do use cards, but they're generally for myself more so than anybody else's. However, those theta and Reiki run on a similar sort of understanding of its energy, how the mind and the body work together to store that imprint, that good, bad, or ugly information. It's That's how it, those sorts of modalities teach you to sort of understand how energy does has a residue and attachment. I'm not putting it really into good words at the moment, but that you can't see it. However, it's definitely there, that energy.
Yeah. And then, so when you notice it with someone, connected to someone, I'm wondering, is
Hmm.
there typically an area when outside energy is attached to someone? Is there like the like most common areas of the body that it attaches to, and what are those areas?
Yeah, so the most common areas of the body are the base of the spine, the shoulder areas,
Yeah,
and then what we could perceive as the reptilian brain, the back of the
right.
neck. That's my experience anyway. Yeah.
I've noticed that.
Feet too. Feet can be another one. Feet can be another one that we hold on to. However, yeah. Sorry, you're going to say, yeah, the back.
No, I was just agreeing with you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the same with some of these areas are connected to our multi-dimensional selves as well. So, we talk about the shoulder areas, we talk about the wings, these sorts of things that aren't really talked about in the mainstream out there. However, we are multidimensional, so therefore we do have these aspects as well. So the attachments within the body, interesting. I did a healing session with someone the other day, and it was an attachment in the reptilian part of the brain, and I got a real understanding that reptilians and the dragons are not the same. So the understanding between the two of them is, the dragon energy is of a different source of to the reptilian energy, and just that was a real new understanding for me the other day, having that come in and understand how that has sort of been hijacked.
Yeah,
As well. So we tend to put these things in boxes. So, we go, oh, reptilian, oh my goodness, I don't want a part of that in my brain. Like, however, it is part of our makeup. It is there to be explored and understand to why we still have that
yeah.
within the body. It does serve a purpose.
Hmm.
Everything within us serves a purpose for this lifetime. Um, Doctors like to say you can live without this organ and that organ. Yes, you can. However, everything within you does serve a purpose. It is connected to some other multidimensional aspect, whether it's a planetary line, whether it's, you know, anything that's been given a name to one of those areas. It has got that cord of attachment to that, and therefore it is going to present in a similar way.
Right.
But I find with the body, it's a lot of it's the back, um, and the 33. you know, the spine, you know, that type of, all of those things are there for reference points for us to understand that, you know, we are here to decode ourselves at the end of the day.
Right. While you were talking, I was listening. I was also looking for a diagram to show people what you're talking about, but I don't know where I put it. It's a really cool place, like a way to see. Like so the reptilian brain is the brain stem, is what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not surprising that it's right below the hippocampus, and the hippocampus is responsible for memory, also specifically long-term memory. And so it's when people say that, you know, they're having low self-worth talk and stuff, it's always the back of the mind. That's why it's the back of the mind. And this particular area right here, this reptilian brain, is something that's where we're beginning to purge. This is an aspect or a part of us that, not purge, or I don't even know if that's the right wording. It's just that we're moving beyond it. And we're learning that we actually are the ones driving. You know, it's like you kind of wake up in the passenger seat. And you're like, wait a minute, give me back the steering wheel. You know, and there's a lot of transmutation happening with this way of believing and knowing. And I'm just really fascinated that you also see and experience it the same way that I do. It's really cool.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
That's really neat.
yeah. So it's interesting that you're saying like that part's evolving. So that to me makes sense, because the more we accept ourselves, you know, you're right. It's called the brainstem. It's not called the reptilian brain. That's just a
As
name
we call it.
I think we've given it within, you know, the trauma informed practice. I guess that's, you know, where that comes from. Yeah. So I guess from that point of view, accepting yourself, going, yes, this is part of us. We're multidimensional. We are made up of who knows how many DNA splices. I don't think any of us will ever understand how we've come to be. And it's only natural that that would evolve and expand into a greater way of, for the human form. Do you know, if you know what I mean? Like it's if we're expanding to become more multidimensional, then we don't need that. Did you just say it's been there for how many years? You
Yeah,
know,
it's been there forever, and well, not forever, but we've leaned
yeah,
upon it at least for the past few generations.
mm, yeah. So it is about change, and the only way we expand and have a different viewpoint is for the change to occur. So the DNA is upgrading and, you know, coming more online, as you talk about. You know, they like to say that there was the junk
Yeah,
DNA, and now they're, you know, acknowledging that it's not junk. It is full of code, and it's there for a purpose. Again, everything within the body is there for a
of course.
purpose. Don't let anyone tell you it's not. At the end of the day, it's there.
Mhm.
It's there to, and including the, you know, the reptilian part where you do go into that animal instinct type, more so thought process, that will serve a purpose for a period of time until it no longer serves you.
Right.
However, you will find that you will have times in your life where you'll need to flip back into that. So you don't want to get rid of it. You don't want it to deny that
Right.
aspect of yourself. It's I'm more at that place of being aware of myself, accepting more of who I am, how and why I'm on this journey. You know, you start off your spiritual journey with, you know, oh, I'll get some crystals, I'll get some cards, da, da, da. And then you get to this like, holy hell, I've got to turn my insides out,
Yeah.
you know, you know, got to wear your insides on the outside, and that's a frightening, vulnerable state to be in.
Yeah.
And you know, I've lost many friends along the journey because they just haven't decided to keep the journey going, and that's fine. That's not what they were here for at that point in time. Some of them gave me some really good tools because they were 10 years ahead of me, and I was able to get some great wisdom and understanding from those people I have met within along my journey. However, none of them are here with me anymore. I'm still the one left standing at the end of the day, and that's how it is. We're all here to run our own race at the end of the day. There are forerunners, don't get me wrong. There's those of us that get these downloads that we don't know what they are. We get this information. Some of it's 2 and 5 years ahead of time, and you're only now going, oh my goodness, I had this understanding in whenever it was. So we are getting to that place where you have to do the work. Like, it is now clearing. Do we want to live in an earth that is more conscious and aware and able to stop, think, let go, move through? That's the world that I would love to live in. However, we do have to do the work to get there, and it's a hard slog to get there, and it can be lonely. I'm thankful that I've found groups like yours, where you've got people that are always on there, always happy to share. You've got the healing corner. You can just stick a thing in there. Someone will answer you back and send you some healing. That sort of community has been a absolute godsend to all of us, because we've been able to connect, and I'm connecting more and more with more Aussies as well. So
Cool.
That's great. We're in a big country and it's a small population, and it's not easy for us to get to places. So everyone I've met online, I haven't met any of them in person. We're a long way from each other. However, it feels like we're as close as you and I are talking right now. So yeah, I've
Awesome.
made that conversation go full circle, but
That was awesome. Thank you. Actually, you brought up something that I would like to bring up anyway. So, for anyone who, because right now we're leaving behind the year of inaction, which means we're moving into the year of connecting, of doing, and part of that is finding each other. All of a sudden there's a sense of loneliness coming up that people maybe hadn't felt before, even for introverts, even for people who don't
100%.
want to usually connect. And the Telegram group is one example, though. Yeah, it's available for you for free. There's many other places. I'm not selling anything. It's free. I do encourage anyone who does enjoy the meditations that I do to be on that Telegram group, if nothing else, just for that, because that's where I post them. I post the audio of it afterward, and it's always free. Also, there's this community. It's this, 500 plus. I can't remember how many members there are. I don't always look, but of people from all over the world, and there's always someone awake because it's so many different time zones being represented, and it's one of many places that I actually didn't expect it to do what it's doing. I started that group because I had 14 people emailing me and I couldn't keep up. And so I was like, hey, talk to each other, and it's turned into all over the planet kind of a gathering. And so if nothing else, if not this, please, I encourage you to find some other group. There's places on Facebook. There's places in other places. I know some people don't want to join Telegram because there's been some stories told about it. And we are a private group, so you have to have the link to join our group. Yeah, occasionally you get somebody that'll join that'll be like a little funky, but then, I just remove them and it's fine.
That just keeps us on our toes when we get those ones in there. We just go, okay,
Exactly.
right, whatever. Well, I do anyway. I just go, oh, okay.
Right. I kind of feel,
it is what it
and
is.
I feel the empathy of that I feel like, oh man, that person's really got nothing else going on. They got to like stir up a bunch of people, like whatever,
Yeah.
like I send them love.
Be a boring life if we didn't have those people, to go, are you in your heart? Are you, let's send them love, and that will send them away anyway. So, at the end of the day, but it's so funny you say inaction. I feel like last year was just inaction.
Yeah.
I felt I started the year off with just like, okay, I'm going to do this Zoom group once a week. I did that most weeks. I wasn't consistent with it, but I just got sidelined, I reckon, June last year.
Yeah.
And then between June and December, it just seemed to be on fast forward, and I just could not get my footing, like to go, what am I doing? Where am I? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how that last 6 months of last year felt.
Yeah, definitely. It clicked in for me in March last year, almost a whole year ago. And like the reason is I was asking spirit. I'm used to, and especially for that particular year, I was going to have a gathering, within a month. And there was, let's do now. And spirit's like, this is the year of inaction. So sit down, have a cup of water, chill out, watch the sunset. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And like, and that was for the whole year. And so, but now it's unraveling, or not not in a bad way, but it's kind of falling away. And now it's like it's time to, if there's outreach, the desire to reach out and to connect and to do.
100%.
Yeah.
I felt the pull. I have definitely felt the pull. Like when you asked me to come on here, I thought, oh yeah, I will. I feel, because I think it was June. I think since the last time I was on your see, that's how long ago it was. It's been a long time, since I was on your show that original time. So it has it. Last year definitely was. If you didn't want to rest, you got rested. It was that type of energy that was around, for sure. We're all still doing our work. Not probably, we were all still doing the work in the background, but from my perspective, I was like, what is going on? Why can't I get my stuff together?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why can't I get motivated? Like, what? Yeah. So spirit didn't talk to me as clearly as they did to you, but to tell me, sit back down, you'll be right. Next year's the year of connection, and I really do feel like that. I feel like this year, those planets that are going to align in, however not long now,
Yeah.
12 days or whatever it is, that feels like another connection point,
Yeah.
and it's going to be another building and connecting, and yeah.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a big one. Like it already is. We're already feeling it. It's just I can feel the momentum picking up as well. It's
Mhm.
and I agree with you. It's so the reason the spirit spoke so clearly to me, because I was frustrated and I was kind of panicked, like because I was about to have
Yeah.
a party because where I was living, I was
I remember
yeah,
that actually, yeah.
for the eclipse, right?
Yeah, I do
And
remember that.
so I had people coming, and I was like, okay, let's do. No, chill out. What? And so, um, you actually have a couple of questions in the comments, by the way. Would you like to answer a couple of questions?
Sure, let's do
I have
that.
them starred so I can find
Absolutely.
them again. I did put them up as they came, but I didn't read them out because,
I didn't
we
see
were.
them, no.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
yeah.
yep.
Okay, so one of them was from Jen. She says, so glad to be here. This may sound off topic, but I'm wondering about soul contracts, especially
Mhm,
in these times. How to know when a soul contract should end, or that we need to hold on to some more.
mhm. Yep, so to me, the context there to me, it sounds like it's a soul contract with a person, because obviously soul contracts come in romantic relationships as well as other relationships as well. To me, I go within. I meditate on that type of thing to see. However, everything has got a use by date. Okay,
Right.
that's what this realm is. So it's about being kind for you to yourself and looking at what is that contract from your point of view. Okay, and then looking at, okay, what is my next step forward? To me, I feel like you already know your answer. Um, and that's the thing with decision making. We do hold on to things, and that's why it does cause the physical ailments within the body.
Right.
So for me there, Jen, I would be looking at going within, seeing what the hold is that you've got on that contract, because we will always have a payoff, and what that payoff is, and then looking to see, you know, what you could do, what potentially you could do to make that kinder on yourself at that time. Feel free to, you know, reach out, um, and we can have a chat. That's for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, that to me, yeah, we always know that things should end. However, we don't want them to end, and we will cause ourselves a more ailments than we need to. So for sure.
And to reach out is harmonicweaving at gmail.com.
Thank
Um,
you. Yes.
there's also, let's see, here's another one. Do you find there's a strong attachment? Let me say, there's a strong attachment. One of the eyes, is there an attachment on one of the eyes if a person goes slightly crossed, like their eyes are crossed? I have been
Hmm.
coming across this lately. Is this something that you're familiar with?
It's not something that I am familiar with. No, I would have to feel into that a little bit more. So you're talking about like when someone might have an eye that's a little bit different to, so the other one might stay stable, and then you might have one that
Like the
moves a little
lazy
bit.
eye, I think is what
Yeah,
people have.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. To me, it's more of a DNA splice than, more so than an attachment, and that is purely because it's a birth. Um, you know, it's not something that happens as you get older, and it can run in families.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I haven't heard that, and I haven't experienced that myself. I've come across a lot of people with this. I've worked in disabilities for a long time, so
Right.
it's not something that I have picked up as a connection. But you know, that's, if that's something that you have definitely picked up, that's something worth exploring, for sure. Um, however, again, a lot of attachments again are a residue of an emotional response to something. So I would be maybe looking, Kim, to see if there's more going on with you, with like what why you're having a response to that, you know,
Yeah.
and maybe come at it from that point of view. Sorry, I can't help you with that one.
Thank you. There's also a likelihood of it this, if this is just gradually coming in like a new thing, there's a likelihood that there's something more going on there. I immediately go to the parasites. If it's a new
Mhm.
thing, most parasites hang out in our eyes and our brain. People think they hang out in our
Yep.
guts. They really don't. They do some, but not very much. It's mostly on our
Yep.
eyes and our brain. You know, so
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's been a fair bit of documented information around autism and how their brain tend to have more parasites than the regular person. However, again, I'm not a scientist or a neurologist, so I can't, speak to that per se.
right.
However, when you're not able to regulate yourself, that there's definitely something going on within the mind more so. So it's like, what we could say the mind virus for
Mhm.
sure. So
Right.
yeah, yeah.
And there's like, by the way, ivermectin is wormwood. It's synthetic wormwood. So if anyone is wondering how to, like there's some stuff about, there's a lot of different ways to purge yourself of parasites. Like that's my big thing these days. I've been doing a lot of experiments on myself. And like so I can like figure out what's the one and for all of my different stuff I've done, wormwood's the best one. These are
Hmm.
that if you have parasites, it does sound creepy, ooey gooey, because we don't talk about it anymore. They burned all those books in the 60s, but this is normal. This is normal for us to go through, move parasites out of our bodies on a regular basis. Sometimes some are every week, some are every month, some are annual, some are daily. Like we brush our teeth every day, and brushing our teeth is removing parasites from our teeth and our mouth. Like
100%.
it, so just keeping that in mind. Um, there was, oh gosh, dang it. I had something in my head that I was like, we got to go here. Oh, yeah, this is off topic, but not, someone has a real, okay, so Telegram people who want to join Telegram who don't have a cell phone, you don't have to have a cell phone. There is a loophole. All you got to do is get on the internet and you type in whatever random search engine internet search engine that you use to create a digital or a satellite phone number, I think is how you call it. And you just type that in and you have a whole bunch of different choices. You can make up an email before you go there, so it doesn't have anything to do with you. If you're, we don't want to be associated, it'll assign you a phone number, and then you have like this window their website, it's like a window of where people can text you. And when you get that text prompt, you can still have that window open and answer the Telegram people from that. And your actual phone number isn't in their database if you're just don't want your cell phone number to be on there, or one that you're not having one at all. And then you can be on Telegram. There's a loophole. There's like, when I did that last time and I was trying to show somebody how to do it, like 20,000 different websites came up as options. Yeah, I'm making up a number. There were too many pages for me to go to. There's a lot of options out there. Just check it out if you want. So it's some cool things to keep in mind. Thought patterns can be very parasitic in nature. So like that's another point too.
Mm,
Um, and so the earworm, people use those
yeah,
words and we don't even know why we use it, right? Is about these repetitive thoughts. So because we probably should kind of pull back and get ready to close this call soon. But
yeah,
is there anything that you could help someone who's like in this low self-worth talk, that because lots of times it's coming from the back of their
yeah,
mind, right?
absolutely. Yeah. Look, I found that for myself. I just journaled, not even a journal. I just got a notebook, just started writing. Get that stuff out. Like really just start processing through whatever that is. You can voice record as well, is another way of just speaking it out. I saw the lovely Jen on here before, Genevieve. I used to send lovely Genevieve messages and speak to her. So for me, it's either write it out, speak it out, just get it out of the self. And then once you start understanding if you're writing it down, you can start looking at what's going on there. And if there's some sort of, patterning to your thoughts, because generally there is. Generally you'll go through, it's a wave, you'll start off with just writing, and then it takes 2 or 3 pages usually before you get to the actual automatic writing, as we call it, and
Yeah.
that's just getting it out. That's what I find. Also, solfeggio frequencies, that was a big part of my my regulating myself. I used to just listen to solfeggio frequencies all the time. So I'd be crying, I would be, just in that real state, put that on. You're probably still going to cry, you're still going to, get it out. However, I just found that regulates the self, the body a bit, gives you some sort of rhythm. And, that's what we need, mother's heartbeat type thing. And it's just about regulating the self. So they were my thing. I wrote a lot. I in the last, say, 2 years, with this year's lovely Genevieve, I spoke a lot to Jen. But that really, it's about, you have to sit with yourself. And yes, it's the most difficult thing that you'll ever do. And no one tells you how hard it is to meet yourself halfway, and taking those steps to do that. But that were the things that I found for myself, and then I progressed into modalities. But I used to have an app on my phone, I believe I still do, called Inside Timer, and it's all just meditations. And
Yeah.
that was that, and there was another one, Calm, I think was the other one. Calm was, I used to listen,
Yeah.
like, have this app called Calm, and I used to just listen to meditations all the time. So, my children will tell you, 2019, I went through a complete and utter breakdown, where I would be doing yoga and crying my eyes out, and they'd be like, I don't know what's going on with her. She's lost the plot, but it was because
Yeah.
I was releasing so much in the body that I didn't even realize that yoga did that to you. I didn't realize it made you cry. I didn't realize it made you get that emotion out of the body by moving and, really giving yourself that time. Like, I think it was just because I gave myself time to do yoga, time to meditate. I didn't have anything else to do. That was a real year of inaction for me, but I had so much growth that year. It wasn't funny, but those are the things that I found for myself. And every day is still a journey. I just want to also, let people know that I was talking about it in the group on Tuesday night on Zoom. It's the year of the snake. The snake
Yeah.
sheds the skin. The snake's got the scales. It's going to balance somewhere along the line. However, the snake is always going to grow. So that means the snake's always going to shed its skin. That means you're always going to have something to look at and work on and feel through and have some sort of vibrational signal coming into your biosphere that you're going to have to determine, like siphon, whether it's a message you want to receive and then send out, or if it's something that, stays here and then you just let it go. So
Yeah. Those are really good points, like, and regarding the automatic or automated, or I don't remember how it's worded. Everybody says it differently. Writing is that channeling through writing is that don't give up. I have a lot of people come to me. They're like really frustrated. They're like, it's just not
yeah,
coming through. It's like, I remember doing it when I was little and I didn't know it was channeling. I just remember thinking, wow, I didn't know I was so wise. When you go back and read what was written, and
yeah,
it's okay if that the
100%.
voice that's being channeled is your own. Usually it is at first. And,
Yeah.
so
Well,
whatever,
you've only got
wherever it
yourself to
comes
listen
from.
to, haven't you? At the end of the day. So yeah, it will be your voice to start with, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You had so many good. We would stay longer if we could. I just
I'll
this
come
was
back.
such
I'll
a.
come back, definitely.
I hope you do. I hope you do. This was a fun call. Um, you're a dear sister of mine, and I always love connecting and talking with you. We could probably, if we lived next door to each other, we'd always be in the garden, like.
We would be, I know. I know. We get carried away on these chats because, yeah, I love connecting with you too, Mila, and, you're a very dear sister to me too, and I love you immensely, and, I can't tell you how appreciative of I have been of you and your community that you've created, and that you've accepted me as a part of. As much as last year was in action, it has formed these connections I'm going to have this year.
Yeah. Yeah, isn't that weird? You think about it, it's true for me too. Even though it was
Yeah,
the year of inaction, we had some real, when we pulled back and we had that pause, like Elsa calls it like the pause, like the animal's pause. Um, when we do that, then what's more important becomes louder in the
100%.
silence. Yeah.
I agree.
Well, thank you so much for this awesome call. And for any of you who are interested and would love to connect with Janette, I encourage you to do so by going to this email address, harmonicweaving@gmail.com. One word, harmonic weaving, one word. Um, and, uh, you know, be patient. Just because you sent an email yesterday doesn't mean she's going to have the ability to answer right away, because she is in high demand. Janette has a lot of different modalities that she's connected with and able to do, and so there's everyone loves connecting with Janette. So I just thank you all for being here and supporting this lovely conversation. Um, and those of you who do want to connect and are feeling the need to connect, in a little over an hour from now, we are connecting on our Zoom meeting. So if you want to come there, the link is found in my YouTube channel in the community section, as well as in our Telegram group. I have it pinned in the Telegram group right now, so you can find it real easy. And it's just a bunch of us sitting around chatting. You don't have to have your camera on. You don't even have to have the audio on. Some people will just write in the little chat section. But just, if you want to and you feel like you want to connect with community, that's a way to do so. So thank you again. I love you.
Thank you. I love you. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you about an hour's time and
Okay.
connecting with everyone. Thank you to everyone in the audience. Thank you for your questions. And yeah, I've had an awesome time. I look forward to doing it again.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Aho blessings.